The unexpected sound. The galaxy had always been a quiet place, vast and empty. Stars twinkled in the distance, distant and unbothered by the events of lesser worlds. Humanity's Earth, a small blue planet nestled in the corner of a minor galaxy, was hardly a place of interest. The great empires of the stars paid it little attention. They believed Earth was no threat, just a primitive world that would fall easily to their superior technology. But on this day, something was different. A sound, small but sharp, echoed through the darkness of space. It was faint at first, almost like a whisper in the wind, but it grew louder. To the untrained ear, it might have seemed like nothing more than the hum of distant stars or the usual static of the cosmos. But to those who knew what to listen for, it was something more. A signal, a warning. The sound reached the ears of one of Earth's most respected scientists, Dr. Evelyn Mercer. She was in her office, hunched over the complex array of screens and data readouts. For days, she had been monitoring strange, almost imperceptible signals coming from deep space. At first, she thought it was just cosmic interference or a glitch in the system. But now, as she listened carefully, her gut told her this was something else entirely. Something important. She leaned in closer, adjusting the settings on her console. The signal grew clearer, sharper. It was a rhythmic pattern, one that didn't belong in the natural noise of the universe. It almost sounded like a communication. A warning, perhaps. She couldn't be sure, but her instincts told her to pay attention. Could it be? She whispered to herself. A chill ran down her spine as she considered the possibility. Could this be the beginning of something much bigger than anyone had imagined? Elsewhere, in the cold silence of space, the same sound reached the ears of the alien forces that had been observing Earth from the shadows. They had always assumed that Earth was nothing more than a blip in the vastness of the galaxy, a weak, insignificant planet, ripe for conquest. Their fleets were vast, their technology far superior to anything Earth had. They had conquered entire star systems with little to no effort. The alien generals, confident in their superiority, were preparing to launch their assault on Earth. But now, something had changed. The sound, which was barely more than a whisper, had reached their advanced technology. The alien leaders, who had dismissed Earth's potential as a threat, were now forced to take notice. It wasn't just a random noise. It was a message, a call to arms. Their top generals, known for their tactical brilliance, gathered in the war room. They had been monitoring the communication, and now they could no longer ignore it. There was something about it that didn't sit right with them. "Is this a trap?" one of the generals asked. His voice was cold, measured. He wasn't used to being wrong, and this mysterious sound was making him uneasy. "We are not dealing with simple humans," said another. "They've been hiding something. The question is, what?" The alien leaders decided it was time to take Earth seriously, but they were far from concerned. After all, what could humanity do against their mighty fleets? They had weapons that could wipe out entire planets. No primitive civilization could hope to stand against them. Back on Earth, Dr. Mercer's discovery did not go unnoticed. She was soon contacted by military officials who had been monitoring the same signals. The global leaders, who had always believed that their small planet was safe from the larger galactic powers, began to fear the worst. They gathered in secret, knowing that they had to prepare for the unthinkable. The alien empire, which had conquered countless worlds, was coming, and they would stop at nothing to claim Earth as their own. Yet, there was still hope. Dr. Mercer, whose knowledge of technology and the stars had made her a key figure in humanity's defense, believed that humanity had one advantage the aliens didn't expect: unity. Earth might have been divided for centuries, but now they had no choice but to come together. They had to fight, not just for survival, but for everything they held dear. As the days passed, the sound from space continued to grow louder, and Dr. Mercer's team worked tirelessly to decode the message. They knew the aliens were coming, and they had to be ready. Earth's fate was in their hands. The sound, once a whisper, was now unmistakable, a call to action. The calm before the storm was ending, and the storm itself was about to hit. The world could not prepare for what was coming, but they would have to fight. The countdown had begun. The rising tension. The day after the signal was detected, a strange silence fell over Earth. For the first time in history, nations put aside their differences. Leaders from every corner of the globe gathered in an emergency summit, all driven by the terrifying reality of what was unfolding. The signal from space, a call to arms or a warning, had reached their ears, and it was clear that something big was about to happen. But they had no idea what it would be. Dr. Evelyn Mercer, now the key figure in this mysterious crisis, stood in front of a room filled with the world's most powerful leaders. Her hands trembled slightly, betraying her calm exterior. She had spent hours analyzing the signal, but the more she studied it, the more questions it raised. Was it a cry for help? Or was it something much darker, something meant to provoke? The signal. It's not just a message, Dr. Mercer said, her voice echoing in the large, tense room. It's a countdown. The room fell into a stunned silence. A countdown? Could it really be that simple? What do you mean by countdown? One of the generals asked, his voice cautious but demanding. It's a pattern. The frequency, the pitch, it's consistent, and I've cross-checked it with known alien technologies. It's not random. Whoever is sending it knows we'll be listening, and I believe they're preparing for something catastrophic. The room erupted into murmurs. Generals and politicians exchanged uneasy glances. The thought of a galactic power turning its attention to Earth was unfathomable. But the signal was undeniable. Meanwhile, in the cold reaches of space, the alien empire that had been watching Earth for decades was preparing for their next move. Their fleet, vast and deadly, was poised for war, though their confidence was shaken. The signal had sparked something within them that none had expected. It was not just the tone or the urgency, it was the fact that it had reached them at all. For years, they had thought Earth was insignificant, a small primitive world not worth their attention. But now, with the signal still echoing through their ship systems, the alien generals knew they had made a mistake. What if Earth had hidden something? What if the human race was more dangerous than they thought? The supreme commander of the alien fleet, Zoran, stood before his generals in a war council. His face was cold, his expression unreadable, but even he could feel the shift in the air. They had underestimated the humans. And now, their entire plan was at risk. The signal is not a message, Zoran declared, his voice chillingly calm. It is a challenge. They know we are coming. A murmur ran through the council. The aliens had prided themselves on their invincibility, their overwhelming strength. Yet, for the first time, they were unsure. Zoran's eyes narrowed. Prepare the fleet. The humans may have something we do not expect. We will crush them, but we must be cautious. Do not underestimate Earth again. Back on Earth, the rising tension was palpable. Military forces around the world began to prepare for the worst. Cities began to brace themselves for an attack that no one could predict. The skies were filled with uncertainty, and every human on the planet feared that the next day might be their last. In the command center, Dr. Mercer worked tirelessly with a team of scientists, engineers, and military strategists. They had to decode the signal's true meaning and fast. Every second counted. The team had discovered something they hadn't expected. The signal was indeed a countdown, but it wasn't just an alien message. It was a countdown to Earth's reckoning. Every number, every pitch of the sound was growing closer to zero. They had no idea what would happen when the countdown ended, but they knew one thing for sure. It would be devastating. We need to prepare for the worst, Dr. Mercer said, her voice sharp with urgency. The aliens are coming, and they're not coming to talk. As the countdown ticked down, humanity's hope rested in their ability to fight back. The massive alien fleet had not yet arrived, but every hour, every minute, brought them closer. No one knew when the invasion would begin, but the fear was everywhere. The silence of space was about to be shattered. The people of Earth looked to their leaders for reassurance, But the truth was that no one knew what to do. The alien empire was vast and powerful, and even with their combined forces, Earth had little chance of winning a conventional war. The aliens had once thought humanity weak and insignificant, but now they were about to face the full force of human determination. The countdown was nearly over, and the galaxy would soon know what Earth was truly capable of. The gathering storm. The countdown continued, ticking away with a relentless rhythm, echoing in the minds of every person on Earth. From the highest military command centers to the quietest homes, the looming threat of the alien invasion had everyone on edge. There was no more time to waste on diplomacy. There were no more diplomatic talks. Humanity had already been tested by the alien signal, and now the real test was about to begin. In the underground bunker that housed Earth's most advanced defense systems, General Nathaniel Carter stood in front of a massive screen. It was a map of the world, but instead of countries, it displayed the alien fleet's projected route. Lines of red flashed across the screen, indicating the trajectory of the ships as they moved through the stars. Carter's eyes narrowed as he followed the red lines. "They're getting closer," Carter muttered, tapping his finger against the map. "We don't have much time." "How long do we have?" Dr. Mercer asked, walking up to his side. Her face was pale from lack of sleep, but her determination was as fierce as ever. "Not long enough," General Carter replied. "We need to move faster. The aliens' fleet is much bigger than we anticipated. It's a full-scale invasion force." His words were heavy with the reality of what Earth faced. While many had underestimated Earth's capabilities, the truth was undeniable. The aliens had underestimated humanity's resilience, and now Earth's survival depended on the ingenuity of those who would stand up against this unknown enemy. Above Earth, in the cold expanse of space, the alien fleet continued its journey. Zoran, the alien fleet commander, sat in the command chair of his flagship, staring out at the stars through the viewports. His fleet was massive, and its power was unrivaled. But even as he watched the void, there was a discomfort in the pit of his stomach. Something was off about this war. He had never faced an enemy like humanity. The humans had shown no fear in the face of their coming doom. If anything, they seemed more determined, more willing to fight back than anyone could have imagined. Zoran clenched his fists, his impatience growing. "Commander, we have received more data on Earth's response," one of the officers called from across the room. Zoran looked up. "What have they done?" he asked, his voice cold and steady. "They are preparing their defenses. Earth's military forces are coming together. They are constructing massive weapon systems, integrating advanced technology." Zoran's eyes narrowed. "They won't be ready in time. No one can stand against the power of our fleet." But even as he said the words, a nagging doubt crept into his mind. The humans were more resilient than he had given them credit for. They were not the weak species they had once thought them to be. Back on Earth, preparations were in full swing. The world's greatest minds had been gathered to create a plan, to forge a weapon that could challenge the alien threat. But no one knew if it would be enough. The aliens' fleet was vast and nearly invincible. Humanity's only advantage was its unity and determination. In the heart of the operation, Dr. Mercer and General Carter worked tirelessly alongside military engineers to implement a last-ditch effort to build Earth's defenses. They had built the most powerful weapons in history, but there were questions that lingered. Could humanity really stand up to the aliens? Could they stop the invasion before it was too late? "We can't just sit here waiting," Dr. Mercer said, her voice tight with frustration. "We need a plan to strike first." "We don't have the resources to engage the entire fleet head-on," General Carter responded. "Our only option is to go on the offensive, but we'll need more time to prepare." Time was the one thing they didn't have. The calm before the storm was nearly over. Every hour that passed seemed to stretch into eternity. Every second was filled with the buzz of anticipation, as military forces prepared and civilians waited, their lives hanging in the balance. The countdown continued. No one knew exactly when the alien fleet would arrive, but everyone knew that the time was fast approaching. Across the world, people sat glued to their screens, watching the same broadcast. Earth's greatest minds and warriors were preparing for battle. There was no more room for doubt. Humanity's fate would soon be sealed, and they would either rise to the challenge or fall before the might of the alien invaders. As the alien fleet drew closer, the tension reached its peak. Humanity had no choice but to make its final stand. There would be no retreat. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin. The first strike, the hour of reckoning, had arrived. Humanity's final preparations were complete. The time to act was now, and there was no turning back. Across the globe, millions of eyes were fixed on the skies, their hearts racing as they awaited the first sign of the alien fleet. Every major city was on high alert, with defense systems and military units on full standby. Tension ran high. The world was holding its breath. In the underground command center, General Carter and Dr. Mercer stood side by side, watching as the holographic displays flickered to life. The map of Earth was now covered in blinking red dots, marking the locations of the alien fleet. There were hundreds of ships in the fleet, each one a massive warship capable of obliterating entire cities. Yet humanity's greatest weapon was still a secret, hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the right moment to strike. "General, the fleet is entering Earth's atmosphere," Dr. Mercer said, her voice tight with anxiety. "We don't have much time." Carter's gaze hardened. "We've waited long enough. It's time to show them what we're made of." He turned to the operators who were monitoring the status of Earth's top-secret weapon. The massive underwater armada, constructed in the darkest depths of the ocean, was humanity's last line of defense. The technology aboard those ships was unlike anything the aliens had ever encountered. The Earth's snipers, carefully hidden and positioned to strike at the most vulnerable spots on the alien ships, were poised and ready. "All systems are operational," one of the technicians reported. "The fleet is primed for launch." With a nod from Carter, the order was given. Humanity's hidden fleet would emerge from the depths of the ocean in a bold and unexpected move, an attack that would shake the very foundations of the alien invasion. Above Earth, the alien fleet cruised through the void of space, its massive ships gliding toward their destination. Zoran, the alien commander, sat confidently in his command chair, overseeing the operation. His fleet was unstoppable, and his mission was clear. Earth would fall. The humans had been foolish to think they could resist. The aliens had faced far stronger civilizations, and none had stood a chance. But as the alien fleet entered Earth's atmosphere, Zoran felt a ripple of unease. The humans, despite their primitive technology, had proven resourceful. They had constructed their own defenses, unseen, unheard of, but now about to be unleashed. "Commander, we're detecting unusual activity in the oceans," one of the officers reported. "It seems to be some sort of movement coming from beneath the water." Zoran raised an eyebrow, his expression turning serious. "What kind of movement?" "It's impossible to track," the officer stammered. "It appears to be large vessels, but we can't get a clear reading. They're coming up from beneath the waves." Zoran's suspicion deepened. The humans had prepared something hidden beneath the ocean, and now it was ready to surface. The aliens had underestimated them once more. "Prepare the fleet," Zoran ordered. "Activate the shields and brace for impact. We'll deal with whatever this is." Back on Earth, General Carter's eyes were fixed on the large display screen. The time had come. His hands tightened on the controls as he issued the command to deploy the fleet. One by one, the massive warships emerged from the ocean depths, breaking the surface with a thunderous roar. The waters churned as the colossal ships rose from the sea, their weapons systems locking onto their targets. The hidden armada, humanity's greatest secret, was now fully revealed. "It's working," Dr. Mercer whispered, watching the vessels rise from the ocean like giants awakening from their slumber. General Carter's voice was steady but filled with urgency. "It's not over yet. We need to hit them hard and fast. Launch the first wave." The first wave of humanity's weapons was unleashed, a series of long-range missile strikes aimed directly at the alien fleet. The missiles cut through the atmosphere, their warheads equipped with devastating payloads. For a moment, there was silence, and then the explosions rocked the sky. The alien fleet was caught off guard. Ships exploded in midair as the missiles made direct hits. The impact was overwhelming, but the alien fleet didn't break. It retaliated, launching its own barrage of energy weapons toward the surface of the Earth. The sky was lit up with beams of destructive power as the first wave of missiles collided with the alien defenses. The battle had begun. In the command center, Carter and Mercer watched in disbelief as the explosions illuminated the sky. The alien fleet was formidable, but humanity had taken the first step. They had struck with everything they had. The aliens were no longer invincible, and the tables were starting to turn. "Their defenses are stronger than we expected," Dr. Mercer said, analyzing the damage. "But they're not invulnerable. We've made a dent. We have to keep pushing," Carter replied. His eyes narrowed with determination. "This is only the beginning. They'll feel the full force of humanity's wrath." As the battle raged on, the aliens quickly realized the humans were far from the weak, defenseless species they had once thought them to be. Humanity's will to survive burned brighter than ever before, and the aliens were about to learn the hard way that underestimating Earth had been their greatest mistake. The turning point. The first wave of missiles had made a powerful statement, but the battle was far from over. Humanity's hidden fleet, revealed to the galaxy for the first time, was locked in a fierce struggle against the overwhelming might of the alien armada. The skies above Earth had turned into a war zone, filled with explosions, energy blasts, and the deafening roar of weapons fire. Yet amidst the chaos, humanity's fleet held strong, and their resolve was unshakable. General Carter stood in the command center, his eyes scanning the displays, calculating their next move. The alien fleet had taken a heavy blow, but they were far from defeated. The alien ships retaliated with laser beams and plasma bolts, each blast threatening to cripple the human ships. The stakes were high, but humanity was ready for whatever came next. "General, we need to make our next move," Dr. Mercer said urgently, her eyes glued to the screen. "The alien fleet is regrouping. They're preparing to retaliate with everything they have." Carter's hand tightened around the console. "We need to strike them harder, faster. Let them know this is our world, and we will defend it at all costs." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the second wave. Launch everything we've got." Across the battlefield, the aliens were regaining their composure. Zoran, the alien commander, stared out at the chaos unfolding around him. His fleet had sustained significant damage, but it was still formidable. He had expected resistance from the humans, but not this kind of fight. They were relentless. "Commander, we've detected another wave of attacks from Earth," one of his officers reported. "They're launching more missiles, faster than before." Zoran's eyes narrowed as he watched the human fleet continue its assault. The enemy's persistence was both maddening and impressive. "Deploy the defensive shields. We can't afford to let them get another hit in." The alien forces quickly adapted, raising powerful energy shields around their ships to protect themselves from the incoming missiles. But the humans weren't finished yet. They had anticipated this, and they had one final secret weapon to unleash: their most powerful missiles, designed to break through even the strongest shields. "Now," General Carter whispered, watching as the final weapon systems were deployed. The missile launchers of the hidden fleet fired in unison, sending a barrage of high-impact warheads directly at the alien forces. These weren't just ordinary missiles. Each one was equipped with a special warhead, designed to pierce the alien shields and cause catastrophic damage to their ships. The missiles tore through space at lightning speed, breaking through the alien defense lines like a hammer smashing through glass. One by one, the alien shields faltered, and the missiles struck their targets with pinpoint precision. Alien ships exploded in massive fireballs as the human weapons found their mark. The turning point had come. For the first time since the beginning of the invasion, the aliens were on the defensive. Zoran's fleet had been struck with a blow they hadn't anticipated, and the damage was devastating. The human warships, though fewer in number, had proven to be far more capable than the alien invaders had ever imagined. "We need to regroup and fall back," Zoran ordered, his voice filled with frustration. "We cannot let them take the upper hand." The alien fleet began to retreat, pulling back to reorganize and reassess their strategy. It was clear that they had underestimated the strength of humanity's will to survive. But Zoran refused to give up. His pride and the fate of his species were on the line. He knew the humans had only won a single battle, not the war. Back on Earth, the command center erupted in cheers as the news spread that the alien fleet had retreated. The humans had struck a blow that even the aliens couldn't ignore. The fight was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, it seemed like humanity might have a chance to win. "General, we did it," Dr. Mercer said, her voice filled with relief. Carter nodded, but his expression remained stern. "This battle isn't over yet. The aliens will regroup, and we have to be ready for their next move. We can't afford to lose this momentum." He turned to face the gathered officers and commanders. "We've made our stand. Now we finish what we started. We'll drive them out of our world and show them that humanity is not to be underestimated." The news of the aliens' retreat spread like wildfire across Earth. People around the world celebrated the first victory in a war they never expected to fight. The tide had turned, and humanity had proven its strength. But Zoran was not a commander to be underestimated. The aliens would return, and their vengeance would be swift. Humanity had won a battle, but the war was far from over. And so the stage was set for the next chapter of the war, where Earth's might would face an alien rage like never before. The battle lines had been drawn, and humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not to be trifled with. The calm before the storm. In the aftermath of their first major victory, Earth's forces were taking a well-deserved moment to regroup and recover. The alien fleet had retreated, but the damage they had inflicted on the planet was severe. Yet, even as humanity celebrated its unexpected success, there was a quiet, growing tension. It wasn't over, not by a long shot. General Carter stood at the front of the command center, overlooking the bustling operations. His mind raced, analyzing the retreating alien fleet's movements and considering their next steps. For now, there was peace, a strange kind of peace after so much destruction. But he knew better than to think it would last. "General, we've intercepted communications," Dr. Mercer said, her voice cutting through the hum of the room. "The aliens are regrouping at a distant location. It seems they're preparing for something bigger, a counteroffensive." Carter's face hardened. He had expected this, but hearing the confirmation made it all too real. The alien invaders weren't just going to go away. They would come back, and with greater force. "Prepare for the worst," Carter said, his voice grim. "I don't care what it takes. We'll be ready for them." The command center buzzed with activity as officers and soldiers worked in unison to reinforce Earth's defenses. The warships, damaged but operational, were being repaired and rearmed. Humanity had learned valuable lessons from their first encounter with the alien fleet, and they would use that knowledge to fight smarter and harder. As the days passed, the Earth's forces continued their preparations. Meanwhile, deep in the heart of the alien fleet, Commander Zoran plotted his revenge. His forces had been humiliated, but they were far from defeated. The humans had shown strength the aliens had never expected from a primitive species, but Zoran was determined to prove that no human, no matter how resilient, could stand up to the might of the Galactic Empire. "Prepare the fleet for the final strike," Zoran commanded, his tone cold. "We will leave nothing to chance. This time, there will be no retreat." His officers nodded and scrambled to execute his orders. The alien fleet, once scattered and vulnerable, was now unified and brimming with power. Zoran had learned from his mistakes, and this time, They would come for Earth with everything they had. Their new plan would be foolproof, and the humans wouldn't know what hit them. On Earth, the silence was deafening. The calm before the storm hung heavy in the air. General Carter sat alone in his office, staring at the glowing map of Earth's defenses. The preparations were nearly complete, but there was something unsettling about the quiet. It felt like the whole world was holding its breath, waiting for the next battle to begin. "Are we ready, General?" Dr. Mercer asked, entering the room. "We'll never be completely ready," Carter replied, his gaze never leaving the map. "But we've done everything we can. The rest is up to fate." As if on cue, the alarms blared throughout the command center. The quiet had ended, and the storm had arrived. Above Earth, the sky was filled with the sound of alien warships approaching at full speed. The dark shadows of the fleet stretched across the atmosphere, blocking out the sun. The calm had been shattered in an instant, and the world was once again plunged into chaos. The alien fleet, much larger and more coordinated than before, was coming to take Earth, and they would stop at nothing to achieve their goal. "General," one of the officers shouted as the radar showed the incoming alien ships. "The fleet is massive. We're facing a full-scale assault." Carter's heart raced as he quickly assessed the situation. This was it. The moment he had feared, the moment they had all known was coming. The battle for Earth would now determine the fate of humanity. And this time, the humans would face the full might of the alien empire. "We knew it would come to this," Carter said, standing tall, his voice resolute. "But we'll fight. We've held our ground once, and we'll do it again. Prepare for battle." On the surface of Earth, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Citizens, soldiers, and leaders alike knew that the fate of their world rested in the hands of those who stood ready to fight. There was no turning back now. The storm had come, and humanity would stand against it. The sounds of engines roaring filled the air as Earth's warships launched from their hidden bases beneath the oceans, ready to take on the alien armada. On the ground, troops prepared for the worst, knowing that the alien invaders wouldn't stop until they had claimed Earth as their own. The calm before the storm had ended, but one thing was clear: humanity would not go down without a fight. General Carter and his forces were ready. The battle would be brutal, and no one knew who would emerge victorious. But there was one thing Carter was certain of: humanity's determination and resilience would not falter. No matter the odds, they would stand their ground. The battle begins. The day had come. Earth's skies were filled with the thunderous roar of engines as humanity's fleet prepared to meet the alien invaders head-on. The once serene atmosphere now crackled with tension. The calm before the storm had faded into a violent, uncertain future. All eyes were fixed on the horizon as the alien fleet advanced. General Carter stood at the heart of the command center, his eyes scanning the digital readouts and radar feeds. His mind raced as he processed the incoming data. The alien fleet was massive, far larger than the first wave. The humans had barely managed to defend themselves the first time, and now they were facing a force capable of wiping them out in an instant. But Carter wouldn't back down. Not now. Not when everything humanity had fought for was on the line. "General, we've got a visual," one of the officers reported, breaking Carter from his thoughts. "The alien fleet is moving in fast. They're coming in waves." Carter's fists clenched as he nodded. "Prepare our forces. We're not just fighting to survive. We're fighting to win. We're fighting for the future of Earth." The fleet's warships, though battered and bruised from the earlier skirmishes, stood ready. There was no turning back now. This was it, the final stand, the last line of defense. Meanwhile, high above in the depths of space, Commander Zoran of the alien fleet watched as his forces closed in on Earth. His cold, calculating mind was already anticipating victory. This would be the moment they finally crushed humanity once and for all. The humans had proven to be more resilient than expected, but Zoran was confident. His fleet was superior in every way, and Earth's defenses were no match for the overwhelming power of the Empire. "Prepare the assault," Zoran ordered, his voice calm, yet filled with the promise of destruction. "Today, we finish this." His officers saluted, each one ready to execute their command. Zoran's fleet was larger, more powerful, and far more advanced than anything humanity could muster. The battle would be quick, efficient. Zoran knew his forces would wipe the humans from existence, just as they had done with countless other worlds before. Back on Earth, the calm that had reigned just hours before was now replaced by the deafening roar of war. Humanity's fleet, led by their flagship, the Valiant, took to the skies with the full force of Earth's military might. The warships were small compared to the alien behemoths, but they were built for speed and maneuverability, with advanced weaponry and technologies designed specifically to counter the alien ships. "Ready the weapons," General Carter ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "We're not going to give up without a fight." As the Earth fleet engaged the alien ships, explosions lit up the dark void of space. Laser blasts and missiles rained down, impacting the alien hulls with fiery intensity. But the aliens responded in kind, their massive warships unleashing their deadly weapons with terrifying precision. For hours, the battle raged in space. The sounds of lasers clashing and explosions reverberated across the command center. Earth's forces fought valiantly, but the alien ships were relentless. Every victory felt hard-won, and for every alien vessel that fell, another seemed to take its place. Despite their efforts, the overwhelming numbers of the alien fleet began to take their toll. Earth's ships were outmatched, and slowly, the tide of the battle began to turn. The humans were losing ground, their ships destroyed one by one, their defenses crumbling under the might of the alien armada. In the midst of the chaos, General Carter stood firm. He watched as Earth's forces fought with everything they had, but even he could see the truth. The aliens were simply too powerful. His heart sank as he watched the Valiant take a direct hit, its hull cracking and sparks flying from every corner of the ship. But then, something unexpected happened. "General," a voice interrupted his thoughts. "We've detected a new signal. It's coming from beneath the ocean." "What?" Carter said, his eyes widening. "What is it?" "It's our hidden fleet," the officer replied. "They've emerged from the depths." Carter's eyes flicked to the monitor, where a new group of ships, sleek, powerful, and deadly, began to rise from the ocean. Humanity's secret underwater armada had arrived. The alien fleet, already in the midst of its victory, was caught off guard. The sudden appearance of Earth's hidden armada threw their calculations off. For a moment, the alien forces hesitated, their massive ships turning to face the new threat that had emerged from the waters. It was the perfect opportunity for humanity's fleet to strike back. With their hidden ships now in play, Earth's forces launched a coordinated attack, targeting the vulnerable areas of the alien ships that had been left exposed during the initial assault. The tide of battle shifted as the humans fought with renewed vigor, their hidden fleet throwing the invaders into chaos. "Now's our chance," General Carter shouted, his voice filled with the fire of a commander who would not back down. "Push forward. We can win this." The battle raged on as the alien fleet began to buckle under the unexpected pressure. Humanity's fleet, fueled by determination and the element of surprise, fought like never before. Each ship was a symbol of human resilience. Every shot fired a testament to their will to survive. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. Would humanity emerge victorious, or would the aliens finally crush them once and for all? The final moments of the battle would determine the answer.